Recently, I was scrolling through the streets of Facebook and I saw a post by a newly wedded bride, someone who just got married, a lady just got married, and her post was just complaining about how lonely and how isolated one can feel immediately they got married. And it resonated with me, and that was what encouraged me to put this video out there. Welcome on this channel. If this is your first time, you're welcome on this channel. My name is Mabel, and here I share practical tips and real life experiences on marriage, and I also bring up couples here to share their real experiences on relationships, on marriage, and building a healthy and impactful family. If that sounds like what you're interested in, get on board with us. Click that subscribe button and you'll be glad you did. Research actually states that couples with strong social support are 4% more likely to enjoy a deeper satisfaction in their first 5 years of marriage. Not me. Research says so. I want to ask you, if you're watching this video, did you feel a bit isolated when you first got married? How was it? Were you lonely? How was the transition like? How was that transition from your single life to when you got married? How was it like for you, especially in the first year, second year, in the first 5 years of marriage? How did you juggle that? Let me hear in the comments. I'm hoping to hear from you. But I initially felt so when I got married, because my story is a special one too. No one really prepares you for that part of how lonely or how isolated you can be, or how your social life would be immediately you got married. Mine was different. I got married after 5 years of dating and courting my husband. And in that 5 years, we were far apart from each other. You can call it a long distance relationship because the distance was so long. Sometimes I joke with my husband to say, because where we got to meet each other, we got to meet ourselves in Yobe State, somewhere in one of the northern states in Nigeria. It's far away. I usually tell him that it's because we had to travel far away to see ourselves. Possibly that had an effect on how distant the relationship we had after that year became. Sorry, that's just a joke. But at 5 years, we were courting and we were in different cities, different states in the same country. During that 5 years, he still had to go study out of the country. I think almost 2 years, studied out of the country and then came back. And even when he came back after his studies, he was in another different city. Getting married was the first time we were living closely, that we could visit ourselves, that we were close. Yes. And I had to leave my job. I had to leave my church. I left my family. I think it was the real sense of marriage where the Bible said that you would have to leave father and mother. Actually left everything. It was a new phase. It was a new life. I was away from friends, from my church. My career took a different, whole new turn because I had to resign my job and joined him in another city, and a whole new transition. The phase was a big change. It was a big transition. As a newlywed, you just get into that situation and you discover that there are some of your old groups will not fit your new phase, and there has to be a balancing act. A balance between family, between in-laws, between church, between career. It's a whole new juggle. In our story, we had to leave our in-laws. We moved into a city that neither of our families were. It was more like a relocation journey of going into somewhere where we didn't know anybody, especially me. My husband has been in that city for about a year. We already had a church, and I think his church was basically the only family and support system he had, and that was where we started our lives from as a couple. What do you do when you feel isolated as a newlywed? What do you do when you feel like you're lonely, you are isolated, you are boxed up, or you are just alone? I look at it this way: when you just get married, I think is just normal for some people to just give you some space, especially distant friends. Even family sometimes will want to give you some space to be able to bond more. Sometimes you don't even see it that way. You just feel, oh, everybody has just neglected me. But to them, they're giving you some space. What do you do not to feel isolated as a newlywed? From my experience or from my story, I would say you become intentional about building a supportive community. Now, the truth is that you will need more support than your spouse can give. And the level of support you get from your immediate social network or your immediate social group, it tells a lot of how successful your marriage can be in those few years or in those early years of your marriage. You have to become intentional about building a supportive community, about the family, about your new friends, about sometimes you still have to continue being friends with some of your old friends. The truth is that not so many of the friends or the groups you belong to before you got married will now be relevant to your new phase or to your new journey. We can't be playing together for 10 years, or 10 children cannot play together for 10 years. I can't remember how that proverb is said. So sometimes you have friends for a season, sometimes you have friends for a phase, and sometimes it's for a lifetime. You need to have that wisdom of knowing which of my friends or which of my network or which of my groups is for this phase, or is for my new season, or is for a lifetime. The wisdom to decipher lies with you. And that's why you need God. If you're a Christian, you need the Holy Spirit to be able to create a balance to say, oh, this is the boundary. These are friends for life. These are friends for a season, or these are friends for this particular phase. For us, we joined small groups in our church, couple groups in our church. It was really helpful. I'm talking about Family Worship Center somewhere in Abuja in Nigeria. That was my new family. And I can also remember that before I got married, 2 years before I got married, I lost my biological mom. It was a whole new transition for me. It was a whole new journey. And also remembering that I gave birth to my first baby immediately we got married. Yes. More like I took in. I think it was exactly when I got married and I gave birth the following year, May. It was more like it was immediately I got married that I took in for our first child, which came not as planned as we wanted. But I'm just saying that to say we got a lot of support from the church. It was more like a family. I almost didn't remember that my biological mom wasn't there. If you've ever been to that church in Abuja, you will know that that church is a church of love. For us, the church became the first family we had, the first support system. We participated, we joined, we were part of that community, and it helped us in growing. We saw couples to emulate. Yes, we saw couples that were living marriage and they were being very open about how their marriage is working. They were worthy of emulation because they were following God, and it was such a joy to be in the environment of people with like minds. So I would say join small groups for couples, look for communities. Sometimes we are always very concerned about community looking for us. We are always laid back and we say, oh, there are no people here. But just as you are saying that there are no people here who love me, there's also one other person that is saying that there is nobody here. And two of you are in different places looking for the who makes the first step. Be that person, make that step to start that community. I remember most of what I do now was bettered from those years, those early years of us being newlyweds. I remember that was when we started having that goal of having a married community. I remember it was early in those years. Some of those dreams are not yet here, but it was those times that we started having those dreams and those thoughts. And if you've watched, I'll pin one of my video here of where I shared that your single life or your single days or those days you are dating or those days before you even get to a relationship are those days you try to form up what happens in the next phase of your life. It is never an isolating phase. Another point I would say is for you to reconnect with old friends who understand your new season. Yes, it's not a time to just get isolated from all your friends. No, you need community to grow. You need support to grow. Reconnect. Remember I said that you have to be wise to know which of my friends or from my support groups are relevant to my new season. Reconnect with those old friends who understand your new season. Next point I'll share is use social media to link up with other like-minded couples. Social media is not evil. What you use social media to do would either make it evil or good. Don't compare your marriage to anyone. You would know people that are real, people that are not real. Don't compare your relationship to anyone. But you can also use social media to link up with like-minded couples. Here I am in another country. We're here in another country, far away from our birth country, but we still have couples, we still have friends, we still have strong ties with where we are coming from, with our old friends, of people that we share the same purpose, people we build impact together, people we are building our marriages together, and we connect with them very, very intentionally. I remember when at some stages in our marriage, we had to just gather our friends and say, we are believing God for this. We want us to pray together, and we'll hold hands together. If they are far away from us, we hold a Zoom call or a WhatsApp call, or we just pray over the phone, and we just lift up ourselves or hold ourselves in prayer. Life comes with a lot of things, financial stress, with career change, frustration, loss. That is where you need community. As a newlywed, you need all the community you can get. But be wise to know what community or what support are you getting. Like I shared, when I gave birth, it was a tough season for me. I remember at the hospital that day, immediately I gave birth, I saw a lot of people coming around just to say hello. It eased that tension of being a new mom without my biological mom around. Even before my mother-in-law arrived, there were a lot of support I was already getting from the older women. Don't wait for community to find you. Go out and create it. Be friendly. Know couples who have the same purpose like you, and connect with them. Ask questions. Ask for help. Start small, stay consistent, surround yourself with those who want to see your relationship thrive. And I'm sure you have those people around you that'll ask you, how you guys doing? How you guys bonding? Do you have some time together? Where are you going for this holiday? What are you looking up to? Do you need some time? Call me if you need anything. You see those people and you see the genuinity and you see the sincerity. Let me know if you're watching this video. Did you feel isolated as a newlywed? How was it for you? Were you lonely? How did you start finding people? How did you start finding friends? Please drop your story in the comments. I'm sure a newlywed will be there to read your story. Or even if not a newlywed, someone who is still at the early formative years of their marriage and will gain one or two things from what you've posted. I'll be waiting to hear your stories. Just put it on the comments and be a help to someone in their relationship today. Till next time, I will say you watch this video and I'll see you right there.